Hello and welcome to another quick look. Me, I'm a Wolf 6 of another furry visual novel. This one, Helward, a Tanuki tale. A game about, as I'm looking at the synopsis right here, Helward is a gay furry romance visual novel about a fish out of water Tanuki named Howl, or Howl. After a year of an intimate long-distance relationship, he will finally pursue his romantic interest. Given his pros- propensity for misfortune, many mishaps await Howl in an effort for love. On top of that, in the territory of Howard, or whatever, secrets and dangers abound, who have much to overcome, while also juggling the secrets of this town. Anyways, also before we start, if you're interested in playing this game, you can get it for free on itch.io. They have a Patreon, but I'm not sure if it's connected to this game. I don't know. Though this game has been last updated about a year ago exactly, as of this recording, not this posting. Also, if you want me to do a Let's Play series of this game, then tell me, and I'll give it a point which will put up higher on the user's choice list. And if you have any other games you want me to quick look, then tell me, and I'll give it a point, and also put it on the, quick look section. Reset face. And begin. Yeah, start. It's dark. Hey, it feels warm. Hey, hot even. It's dark and feels hot, as if you're basking in front of a temperamental sun. There's no light, however. The world seems void of sensations. Hey, actually, there's one sensation. Noise. A voice. Calling out to someone. Hey! Just gonna give it a couple more seconds before... Okay, I click. Puppy? Might put the music down just a smidge. Oh, what is it? Oi. Yeah, I guess I didn't, have the knowledge of that known because it was so quiet at the beginning. Dozing off? Dozing off? Were your eyes closed? They're open now. The large figure stares down at the mere expression on your face. Meek expression on your face. Oh, no. I was just... Huh? You alright there? Shorty? That's, well... You stop yourself mid-sentence, examining your surroundings. They're bizarre, and you should definitely be confused. Weirdly, however, you only feel slightly curious as to your current location. It feels as if you've been here before. Also, I can see right through them, I think? What is this place? It's called a restaurant. Ever heard of one? A restaurant. You blink, expecting something to happen, but your surroundings stay the same. Are you sure? You've definitely lost it. I haven't lost anything. It's just, this all feels weird. Well, it has been a second, right? I know, I'm kind of anxious too. Too? How assumptive. You are anxious, right? You don't argue with this assessment, however. Instead, staring at the smiling figure casually slumped in the seat in front of you. You're anxious? Rubbing it in, huh? Wanna know a trick? Sure. Where's my mouse? There it is. Sure. Alright. Something that's always helped me is close my eyes. Then, breathing in slowly, holding it. Then, breathing out slowly. It helps a lot. Try it. Maybe I should try it. They look towards you, bright with anticipation to see you try. It's not much of a trick, you think. Just breathing technique. Breathe in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. then out. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, there's a voice next to your ear. You find yourself far too tired to answer it. Suddenly, something wet brushes against your cheek. Huh? Hey, what is this? You, what is that? Are you okay, Shorty? Um, Large figure hovers above you now, wearing the traditional ceremonial garb. It's ill-fitting and tight compared to the person, as if any sudden movement could cause it to snap and fly apart. Why is he transparent? Which makes sense, given who they're typically made for. But that isn't what really catches your eye. There's a painted paw mark in his chest. What? Out of all that, that's the thing that you're like, that's weird. Not the fact that I can see through him. Hey there, eyes up here. Did you get mated? Or matted? The snicker mockingly at your question. What is so funny? Sorry, I'm still getting used to it. Yes, mated. No, duh, shorty. You cross your arms sternly. When something catches your attention, you sniff around for a second. It smells of home. This isn't a restaurant. You told me you were good with your liquor. Maybe we should head back and get some rest, huh? The circumstances of your current situation are clear, but you find yourself compelled to reject their suggestion. Oh, I'm perfectly fine. Okay then. The figure pulls their body into yours, heat radiating off their form. You find it to be really comfortable. You reciprocate, pushing up into their bulk, your arms unable to fully wrap around their muscular form. Is this good? Is this a hug? Whatever it is, it's certainly exhausting. In fact, you even begin to pant. Yeah, that's fine. Their words are hesitant. You pat them on the back and lick their cheek. It's alright. Their breath tickles your ear, and as they lean in closer. I love you. Uncertainly, who is you exactly? You aren't sure. Still, there's no hesitation on your part. You know what to say. The soft fur of their neck tickles your nose as your two bodies sink further in. The ambrosia of minty perfumes, combined with the natural musk, fill your senses. I love you. I love you even more. It's not a competition. You only say that because you couldn't win. Unrestrained laughter escapes your maw as you dig yourself further in their mane. How tepid of you to mock at this titan. While you're brave enough to joke, you easily found yourself wrestled back to the ground. The cheeky smile looms up above your face. This form plays quite euphoric. You can't help it as your tail swishes about or twists about. Neither could you help it as your legs swivel spirally under their force. But it proves in vain. You're overpowered, just a trapped little trickster. You're so... Oh, you gasp, as the thumb finds its way to your lips. Pleasure and anticipation arises in imagining where this may lead. A smirk and a flick of the tongue that ought to send a message. You know just how to tease them for sure. As soon as your little tongue licks the tip of their thumb, you find your maw locked with theirs. A kiss. They pull away slowly. How meager, you tease. Show me how it's done, then. Of course you oblige. No time is wasted, as your hand twists to align itself perfectly for kissing. You quietly affirm your love again. They release you from your meaty shackles, your hands tracing up across their muscles and working the way around their neck. You pull yourself up, and... Back! Yeah! You find yourself in a stupor, having been so rudely and abruptly awoken from your dream. That noise, annoying, the irritating, all too familiar sound of mechanical buzzing. Bzzz, bzzz. Peepers open, and you find yourself goggling at the wooden surface above. Yeah, that's right. As the rest of your senses kick in, so does the pain of your intimate exchange with the surface above. Scratching at your nose ought to prove some form of relief and soothe the pain, but the gesture feels alien and strange, or rather impossible. You attempt to form a form-defined stunt of snout rubbing, like some kind of beast. Your claw marks the surface above. Shit, the ceiling again. You already knew as much from the awkward motion, but you still find yourself clamoring to confirm reality. You glance down at your hand, or rather your paw. You wiggle the digits around lazily, still half awake. This won't do. You sigh, then begin to concentrate. Pins and needles, as if your entire body had fallen into a cactus bush as some deep force arises from within you. It all starts with a thought. Then it flows through your veins. It makes its way to your chest and the rest of your body. Resonant is what you are, the turning fork of the innate magical language every living being has to them. That makes it 3 days then. Your tired thoughts wander. Such lack of focus would hinder a novice, but for you, this is simple as breathing. Incantate, shift, brush your teeth, take a shower. Typical morning. Jesting helps you cope with the nuisance of your random nocturnal conjury. The mental image forms as aether rushes across your body like a hot shower. In moments, you find yourself transforming. You shift your swift body only doesn't only bring a different form, but also a different perspective. You expect your body to shrink, but instead, you grow in size. How odd. Your snouts, once against kisses the surface above, once again. You find yourself crampedly close to the surface. Exclamation mark. Scoots, scoots, scooch. You can feel your fur grow. You feel it grow more and more disheveled as you work your way out. Finally, you're up. And hopefully awake too. Did I fall asleep on the couch and roll over underneath the table? That's a first. Bzz, bzz. Don't forget moving day. Annoying, torturous even. If only looks could kill. Not as if the device is alive anyways. On the screen it reads, Moving day, early. Surprise him in the morning. Don't forget the suitcase. Easy face. Finally, now, on the screen, you can loosely make out the unkept mane of some beast. Well, you, of course. The draggle-tailed little thing with a tired face. New markings trail down your cheeks, ones you didn't have the day before. Ones you quickly rub off on the back of your hand. You are a Tanuki. Miserable. You become quite alert. I mean, who wouldn't be, after a bash on the nose and the ringing of the alarm? Your limbs feel liberated, motion born anew within your form. You feel so free. Your tail shoots up in the air, wiggling in fun little circles. Free, yes, because you're nude. A quick glance at your resting area, the couch, tells you all you need to know as you follow the trail of discarded clothing down underneath the table. You shoot a glance at your wooden partner's wound. Despite sharing a kiss, you spare no sympathy for the cheap furniture. Clothes bundled up, you sniff them. The smell strikes your nose without pause. Thankfully, its being your own scent stops you from recoiling. But one thing's painfully clear. I smell like a damn dog. I should probably take a long shower today. Wouldn't want the sweat from a long drive ahead compounding with this bestial funk. An extra lengthy shower later is the first step of your morning routine. Then your teeth. Finally, you spend a fair amount of time grooming, clipping your nails, and brushing your loose fur. Finally, frumpless. You make your way back to the living room. However, there's something new. You're accompanied by an object nearly a third of your size. I spent the past couple of days making sure to grab everything, so I should be good. Then, hands pressed firmly up against your rear, you work your way down, to the perfectly groomed tail. The necessities ought to be on my person. There's nothing left to do. The suitcase is stuffed beyond measure with clothing, amenities, and trite baubles. There's no time left for second guess. You have the suitcase with relative ease, an act that would certainly impress an uneducated onlooker, or so you think. The knob extends clearly in front of you, but you can't bring yourself to reach for it just yet. You feel the need to turn around just one last time. No one. The place is empty. What do you expect? Still, you give it one last heartfelt look. You're home for the past couple of years. Goodbye, place. It's 3 o'clock on the east side. The twilight is peeking in, and I've just put my coffee down. How are y'all doing? The beginning of a new week means the beginning of another week of work for most of you. The early morning radio host continues to spout its truisms. Your trip has taken you around 5 hours at this point. The monotonous, abandoned stretches of country roads are the only scenery to welcome your eyes for the past 2. The radio chimes with an infectious melody, which you hum along to. You're quite bored. This is the second time you've made this long trip, and you question how you ever cheated in the first place. Perhaps it was thanks to the music you had streaming in your head through the clip-on earbuds you wear often. An activity a fortunately friendly officer informed you was illegal while driving on the road. The activity that you certainly wouldn't do again. Not that anyone would be around to see. Is that illegal to have earbuds in ears while driving? On top of boredom was also anxiety. Not over the trip stuff, but a growingly loud ticking noise that had started around 30 minutes back. Tick. I started the machine, like she said, at least twice a month. What could possibly be the matter? Unfamiliar with the inner workings of such a machine, you could only hope this didn't spell the misfortune for your journey. But again, tick, even louder this time. Damn machinery. And then, as if out of spite, you begin to feel the vehicle slow down. I take it back. Please, mercy, I have places to be. You beg with the machine, its name working as to not just call for compassion, but also means to personify the vehicle. But it continues its deceleration, unconcerned by your pleasantries or obligations. You let out a low growl, the verbosity of the local folk slipping out of your tongue as if natural to you. You sound like a true native. Fuck me! Although you have not seen a soul in miles, you steer Mercy off the road as to not cause an inconvenience for any passerby. You mess around with the controls, but it refuses to start. Angrily, you scramble out of the vehicle and march towards the rear hood. You place your palm on it as if ready to go to war, but yeah! You let out a yelp as you nearly stumble back on your ass as the burning pain soars across your pads. The vehicle is quite hot. You didn't even know how it could get so hot. You mull out for a moment, coming to the obvious realization you have no idea how such a machine works, let alone how to repair it. You pick yourself up, instinctively licking your wound. It doesn't take much time for the pain to subside. You ponder for a moment what your options even are. You remember your roommate providing you with a number that would help you in scenarios like this one. You open your phone. The symbol for making calls is grayed out. Thankfully, however, you know that the signal can change with location. You look off into the distance and begin to roam a field nearby, all the while staring down at your cellular device. What about here? Still no signal. This will obviously take some time. Several minutes later, you hear something off in the distance. Hey! You turn around. Question mark? This your car? You spot a figure yelling off in the distance for you. You nod and head to affirm their question. Need help? I'm a mechanic. You sigh, unable to find a call signal. You head back towards the yelling man. The closer you get a good look at the man, a bearfolk of considerable stature. His left eye is encircled with what seems to be a tattoo. Just by glancing at him, you can tell he's a working man. The black fur of his arms, blackened further by dirt and grime. You approach him. He seems startled as you close in, even backing up slightly. In fact, it's as if he's looking up and past you. What in the world? You're some sort of behemoth? Or behemoth? Oh, your vehicle? Behemoth? Of course. Would you think I spotted you from all that distance? You're confused. To such a degree, you've lost the original question. The man blinks, then, as if realizing something, he shakes his head and winks at you. Oh, damn. Sorry about that. You need some help with your car? You pause for a moment. You don't feel any ill intent from the winking bear, but he's still a stranger. Although you're in a rough situation, it is not as if you could get much worse. He opens his eyes. He opens his eyes back up. I don't bite, mostly. Ooh. You have heard of people in the Eastern Ward are quite nice, even if a bit overly pious. You decide to put your faith in a stranger. Yes, definitely. I was trying to call a... Sorry, but I'm not an Easterner, or all too religious. The man interrupts you, as if correcting the record you never set. That's fine. I just need a Yep, I'm a mechanic. Let me get the toolbox from the truck now. Thanks. The strange mechanic heads off to his truck. You can't help but notice the lazy styling of his outfit, his tail wiggling freely from his pants tail stuck as they droop slightly low. What a weird fellow. The name's Whiteman, by the way, or Whitman. Whitman comes back with the toolbox in hand, sets it aside, as he moves his hand towards the rear of the vehicle. Be careful, that's hot. The words come out of your mouth as you notice that the mechanic was doing. Drawing his hand near the surface, he checks the heat of the metal. Thanks, big man. The mechanic says his thanks, even though your warning was clearly not needed. You feel naive. You look down your palm, wishing you could have been so clever. You look back up to catch him smirking as he raises the hood. He looks around for a moment before digging around the guts of the machine. A couple of minutes pass with no conversation to speak of. Awkward. I wonder if he could be of some assistance. If he could be of some assistance, or I? If I could be of some assistance. Sure. Hand me a spanner? You stare at him confused and kind of irritated. Is there magic in this universe? I'm not sure if the main character could change himself. You roll your head and glance at the toolbox. What exactly is a spanner? Metal thing. Little adjustment on it. Should be on the top. Your eyes dash back up at the man. You judge him up and down, as if attempting to unfold the manner of trickery that's allowing him to reply to your thoughts. Sorry, got a bit of a bad habit lately about cutting people off. He reaches his hand out, beckoning you for the tool. Spanner. white gum dispenser looking thing. Reach for the metallic looking wand. The object is cold against your fingers. There's a claw on the top of it. Hand them to it cautiously. Thanks. You stand silently as the man toils away at the machine. His eyes focus intently on his activity. You keep your mind still, almost as if to prevent him from reading your thoughts until. Where are you heading? Helward. Huh. What? You don't look like one to me, but you some sort of demon? No. Why would you think that? I'm just Tanuki. He pauses his activity for a moment, giving you a side eye. Well, assuming I don't need to go I don't need to go see my optometrist. You're a bit more than you put on. What? Though I suppose I don't know much about Tanukis. You find yourself unable to hold back from speaking your mind. Then you put on? What exactly are you implying? Also, how do you even spot me from such a distance out in the field? I didn't believe I know any Ursine with the eyes of a hawk. Plus, the mind read. Chill there, big man. It's just true sight. I'm a demon after all. You pause. You didn't even realize this man was a demon, despite the chatter about them and warnings you received since venturing to the wards. You never given the subject of demons much attention. In fact, even after living for years near the break in the wall, you knew very few demons during your stay in the North Ward. Despite the man's tone suggesting you should this should yield you better insight, you still found yourself absolutely lost. You were, for lack of a better word, a tourist. Means there ain't much you can hide from me, given these eyes of mine. Whether it's that feeling of confusion running around your skull right now, or that modest little form you're wearing. You're lost for words, realizing you're so exposed brings you so much dismay, given how easily it was done. No incantation, no etheric object, or tome. How did I not know about this? Don't worry about me. Most regular folk ain't got true sight. Just one of the nice blessings I got. But supposing it's a secret, I'd make sure to keep your license and plates up to date once reaching Helward. I got a hunch you ain't one for driving, and the badges down there support similar equipment to my eyes. It ain't good as the real deal, but you get pulled over looking like that and get lensed, and they'll light your ass up on fire if you ain't got the right papers. I. That never happened the last time I visited. Wasn't exactly legal for them to use them before, but with things ramping up, well, just some friendly advice. Figure out what's best for you, big man. I didn't even realize anyone could just see me. You staring down at your hand for a moment. To you, it doesn't just look like your hand, it feels like it. My deception's good enough to trick myself, and yet. His hand reaches out once again, ignoring your rambling. Hand me the screwdriver if you could. You let out a sigh, focusing on the task. You've seen a screwdriver before. This should be easy. You look closely at the box. Certainly this. This is definitely it. Nice job. You bask in a second of triumph, hearing the mechanic's praise. Some hairs on your tail even begin to stand on end, but the moment quickly passes. Sorry to bring down the mood, big man. It's alright. It's better I travel the wards with such knowledge than not. I didn't exactly study up, I suppose. I'd rather not have my ass lit on fire. Now, what's exactly takes you to Hellward, anyways? You pause, realizing the man can practically read your thoughts thanks to the gift. Could you close your eye? Heh, I don't exactly work that way. Well, you can tell the man already knows the rest of what you're going to say. Still, he waits patiently for you to finish your sentence. I'm moving there. He's quick to reply. Pretty adventurous, coming to Helward all the way from the north. He smirks, glancing back at you. Not that you got that much to fear, I'd imagine. So, why Helward? I, lady friend? Um, ah, I see. The absurdity of being read like an open book is more than mortifying, and he's more than aware of how uncomfortable his line of questioning is making you. Still, he is fixing your vehicle. Even then, you can't bring yourself to just go along with what he discovered. See what, exactly? You're gay, right? Annoying. Suppose I am. Yes. Ain't too used to expressing that, are you? Not exactly, no. Makes sense. Obviously got your reasons. Some part of you is happy you did, though. You'll get there eventually. What do you know? You say that as if you're some old sage. I'm only 46. I ain't that old. Hell yeah, man. Seems pretty old to me. Quiet you. You're doing that on purpose now. Also, I got a man in my life. Oh, sorry. Yeah, no one told you to judge a book by its shit. The mechanic pulls back all of a sudden. Are you alright? Yeah, I'm alright. Hand me that rag. Quick. He reaches his arm out aggressively. It's covered in some sort of fluid. You can tell whatever. I don't know why it felt. It doesn't look like it's moving, but it also does. You can tell whatever occurred. He's not too happy about it. Grab wag. Demanding. He grabs the rag and begins wiping at his arms. Shit, he's gonna flip. Who's gonna flip? Nothing. The shit's pricier than it looks. Women lets out a long sigh as he tosses the rag to the side. Sorry about that. You're dating some big dog folk? Yet again, you find yourself frozen, with no expertise in discussing your relations with anybody but prospective dates outside your former roommate. The subject is quite sensitive. I'm guessing Tanukis aren't too progressive when it comes to all that, huh? But you're in the wards now. Might get a dirty look or two, but the chance of you getting your face bitten off is pretty low. And you got a lot of face to bite, big man. So, loosen up a bit. He's right. I'm not back home. I need to acclimate. I've been here for more than a year now. This could be good practice. Good outlook there. Yeah, okay. Well, my roommate, she's getting married. So I drove all the way down to Helward to get her something special for the restaurant she's always bragging about. As a parting gift. He, my boy, er, well, yeah. My boyfriend works at the restaurant, and that's where I met him. He showed me around since the food wouldn't take all day to prepare, and we just kept in touch. The bear stares at you from the corner of his eye. He obviously has something to say. Just speak, bear. You love this dog folk, don't you? What? Damn it. Whatever. Yes, I like him. I haven't seen him in an entire year though. You seem confident about him. I'm sure y'all hit it off just fine. You really think so? What's he look like? You pause. Your head fills with all sorts of flowery ways to describe this person. You can see me, right? Of course. Then, I suppose it doesn't matter then. You your tail, pull your tail to the side. Then, as if by some fancy magic trick, you pull out an entire laptop from behind it. The bear doesn't seem particularly surprised. You flip it open, flying quickly to a well-visited picture folder. You sit beside the bear for a moment, showing the screen. Your tail dirties itself as it wags around the dewy grass below. Sorry, my cellular device has very little storage and isn't good at receiving images, so I keep my pictures on here. I was going to print out some of them, but that seemed a bit absurd. You point at a picture that particularly catches your fancy. You feel excited, as if showing off some achievement to a parent. This one's really good too. Wow, he's a catch, big man. I was assuming he was going to be a demon, but he seems like a regular dog folk. You can tell from a photo? Sometimes. What kind of sage? He's kind of a sage, and I get lost in his tirades all too often. But that just makes me happy, I guess. That's great. He's also in movies and stuff, and writes a little, but mostly he's an amazing chef. Oh yeah, he wanted to be an actor, but laptop screen turns off. It seems I forgot to charge it. Damn, I knew I forgot something. As as you see your face disappear in the black of the screen, you realize how carried away you got. Sorry, I got a bit. You look up at the demon mechanic. The expression on his face is soft and welcoming. It I took you as some kind of strange deity or beast, but you're just a goofy kid, aren't you? I'm far from a kid. I'm nearly 30. I'm sure you two have a great time together. You grab your laptop, pulling your magic trick off yet again in order to hide it. Almost done. Could I get those pliers? Yeah. Um, yep, those. Thanks, son. The mechanic continues to toil away at the guts of the machine for some time. Not much conversation takes place as you start off in the distance. You take a seat in the grass, the wet surface of the ground rubbing against your tail end. You look back at the toolbox. The only thing left is a book of some sort. Feel free to flip through the album if you want. You nod, grabbing the album from the box. It's for humanizing. What does that mean? Well, a lot of folk ain't too fond of demons, for all sorts of reasons. I like helping people, but sometimes they see a big man like me and get spooked. So, I let them flip through the album to cool their nerves. Picture's worth 1,000 words. Sounds clever, though. Though, nowadays, I run my own business. I just give them my card, or use my phone. Much easier. That's why it's all the way at the bottom of the box. You open up the album. The first photo is a bearfolk with his arms wrapped around some sort of canid. The bearfolk, while chubbier and younger looking, is unmistakably Whitman. Those two are posed quite affectionately. It seems fairly intimate for a first photo. Is that? Yeah, that's me and him during one of our trips. I'm a bit of an open book. Plus, it works well for disarming folks if they see you in a relationship, even if it's gay. You don't recognize the location, but on the left of the photo is Dogfolk with a stern expression. Him? He's a bodyguard. Well, escort, I suppose. You scan over the photo once more. Upon second glance, his boyfriend seems incredibly familiar. I wonder if he's some sort of politician. Nah, he's an actor. Wow, I must have seen him in some film. I guess that explains the escort. How'd you two meet? Childhood friends. Well, more like foes at first. Your mind wanders to thoughts of stereotypical student relationships blossoming into full-blown romances. The kind of thing you'd seen on televised dramas. Huh. We met at an orphanage in the north side of the wall. Check the next photo. Orphanage? You check out the next picture. You see the same pair in their adolescence. Women even stouter in his youth, and it's some sort of group photo. Heh, stout. Thanks. Sorry, you grew up in an orphanage? What happened to his parents? No idea. Er, yeah, never met my parents or heard a word about them. Been there as long as I can remember. I'm sorry. Don't worry, it's not all too interesting. in meeting them. Oh, no, that I'm altering. Yeah, they're probably dead anyways. His, on the other hand, died when he was 7, killed in some feud that took out a huge chunk of wall. He was at school when it all went down. Unlike me, he came from a pretty wealthy background, even when we went to school in the North Ward itself. But when everything went down, he lost it all that day. One thing led to another, and he ended up in the same rat's end of an orphanage I lived in. How incredibly grim. My mind just went straight to television nonsense. You prostrate slightly? I apologize for my misfortunate display of ignorance. Whoa, no need to get all formal, especially into me. Still, your boyfriend. Honestly, I'm surprised he didn't ask why he's kicking someone. It just didn't seem like my place to ask. But, well, why then? Because he was an awful little shit. Of course, I didn't make his life all that easy in the beginning or anything. At first, I fucking hated that guy. Couldn't stand his face. Whiny little prick. Would pick fights with everybody, even the adults. It wasn't as if we treated him awful or nothing. He just refused to get along. But I caught him crying when he was alone. His aura and thoughts were like nothing I'd seen before. Kid was a mess, beyond just sad. It was like everything just lacked meaning to him. He wanted to, well, so I decided on acting nice to him, even if he still treated me like shit. Not like I was a bad kid or anything. How benevolent. It must have been quite difficult. The little shit spat in my face. Twice. I don't know how I did it. How the hell I did it. Eventually, he started making friends, and got pretty popular. Then, we started hanging out a lot. He told me about his life, and his parents, the friends he wanted to see again. Also, he wanted to become an actor. Apparently, he was taking lessons before everything had happened. Honestly, I thought he was nuts. A demon in the wall, with that kind of pedigree and ambition. He almost sounded like normal folk to me. But I still like to see him go off. When we were teenagers, well, we moved out and got some crappy place together. It was even worse than the orphanage. No water, no nothing. Uh, may as well been a cardboard box. I ain't good at remembering who exactly was bitching over what, but we got into a pretty intense fight over everything. For a good month, the two of us jumped between not speaking to yelling again. Or yelling. Again, I wasn't much for remembering the reason why. But at some point, it all boiled over. But instead of us splitting apart, well, I pinned him against the wall, and he started making out. I never really told him I liked him or anything like that. But I guess it didn't need to be said. Ever since then, we'd just been together, working our way up in the world. Sure, it wasn't easy, but together, it's been awful fun. What an aggressive relationship, but still, lifelong friends turn lovers. My relationship pales in comparison. Heh, it's not a competition. You slide your claw between the two pages to free them. The surfaces probably held together all this time under the pressure of the toolbox. It's a picture of him again, in an unknown location, this time standing next to an older dogfolk of the previous photo. The photo seems more recent. That must be the orphanage. Good guess. Another photo, another photo from the wall. That's the man who runs the orphanage. He used to run it with his wife, but she died some time ago. He looks like a kind man. He has a tooth on him. He had a tooth on him, but him and his wife were a kind soul. He had a tooth on him? I'm not sure what that expression means. I kind of thought of him as my dad, or closest thing since I didn't have one. You look over at the page. It's a similar picture. However, the building in the middle is clearly different. I renovate the place as a favor. You're mesmerized by the contrast between the building and the two photos, as well as the difference between the clean, nourished home and the squalid surroundings. All these years spent here, I still don't know what the wall really is. The word tourist pops up in your mind again. The orphanage is pretty close to the slums. It ain't all too nice around those parts, and everything's pretty tied in, but we made do. It's gotten better with time. Well, at least in the north. Can I ask, what exactly is the wall? You feel embarrassment asking a question about the monolith you had been homed next to for over a year. He doesn't seem offended, however. The wall? Hmm. I ain't a historian, but I'll try me best, kid. The walls, well, kind of the floodgates of hell. It was constructed when the population of hell started to get a bit too much to handle. It wasn't really that's uh, it wasn't really that's where what that there wasn't land in hell for everybody. But actually, better I show you. Here, let me see that. The demon reaches for the album, and you hand it over, and he begins flipping towards the back. Eventually, he comes to a page with photos layered into the sleeve. He pulls a few from the bottom. Hmm, what in the world are these? The photos contain angles and shots of different landscapes. In some of the photos, you can clearly make out some beast, some small, some large, but none you've ever seen before. That's hell, a landscape filled with beasts and fiends. No one's all too sure how hell got to be this way. Some say beasts were involved. The beasts there evolved to take on the inhabitants, and some think demiurge made them that way. Either way, a great lot of hell is like this. Then, then of the places that aren't, they're usually walled off and guarded. Ain't exactly easy to set up camp in hell, so if you got no place to live, you're better off in the wall. Your attention is still drawn to the photos. One you see that looks to be a city off in the distance. That place apparently is a trade center at some point. It's pretty close to the wall. Some people still live there, but it's unguarded, so there are beasts all over it. We aren't allowed to get all too close. Why would anyone choose to live in hell itself? Way back then, when it was a far safer place than fending out of hell. Plus, people gave their souls to the great devil demiurs, so they were pretty powerful, even compared to the beast. You think back to your history books you were rifled with when you were much younger. Tales of a despotic dragons who ruled the old ages, and the lengths humanity would go to in order to escape their tyranny. Wait, so there's humans in this universe? So demons were just people seeking refuge. See? You probably know more than me, honestly. But yeah. Back then, they were escaping dragons, and the mighty devil promised them powers and protected lands. It was a pretty good deal at the time. But the dragons disappeared eventually, so there were just a lot of losers who didn't even possess their own souls anymore. Your only real out is being dead. What a dire state, you think to yourself. Eyes still focus on the images laid out in front of you. In one, you see a large insect-like creature. The burrower? Freaky thing. It trailed us for nearly an hour before our escort got fed up. Got fed up? He blew it to bits. We actually took this photo as he's dragging it out of the sand. Guy's some kind of damn monster. It seems something comes to mind as the bear starts laughing. Honestly, I should have taken a picture of my boyfriend during the event. He got coated in guts and started yelling at the escort. Honestly, hell isn't all that bad. Neither were the walls, really. Plus, the powers he gave us can be pretty useful thinking you get lucky enough to have some fun ones. He points to another photo, a pack of what looks like to be wolves, standing, staring at the photographer. Off in the distance, you can make out a few fighting. Like these beasts. What do you think of them? It looks like some kind of wolf beast, I suppose. Deceiving, aren't they? I thought too when I first glanced at them. They were actually pretty smart, the more I watched. They were able to relay information silently to each other. The entire time they were watching us, they were chatting back and forth, and secretly, about how they could possibly eat us. I couldn't keep my eyes off them. Just ain't really ever ran into a beast that's all too interesting in my book, but hell's full of them. Pretty neat, right? Over time, lots of regular folks started to take position around the walls, and they didn't exactly see demons as humans. Even the name demon ain't of our own making. Not that anyone cares all that much anymore. Back then, it was fight to live. Either you risk it fending off those fiends in hell, or you risk getting crucified by those nuts from the outside. But I guess things have gotten better. Had they really? I thought to myself before realizing what you just said. Heh, a lot better when people were cutting each other down with swords. Most folk nowadays don't even know how to fight. It's pretty nice in my book. What is that supposed to be? Your eyes look at the last photo on the batch. It's a large beast. Flowers on the back of it. Those some kind of hippo looking beast. They tasted pretty great cooked up. You ate them. I'd eat them again if I got the chance. Anyway, it ain't like demons our own two into either. We got our reputations and name for a reason. Our powerful anatomy and magic grant us in exchange for our autonomy. At any moment, we could be used by the devil to do any manner of twisted acts. Not that it's ever really happened, but still. Plus, there was a time where we thrived on killing and enslaving outsiders, turning vagrant souls into demons for our god. Pretty spooky stuff, ain't it? You say that as if you were there. Nah, but I know that much at least. Anyways, don't take too much pity on us. We put ourselves in this position. More like your ancestors did. Women seems to not hear your thought, or at the very least ignores it. He stuffs the photos back in the album sleeve, but then something comes out to your mind. Wait, how'd you get these photos? They're yours, correct? Oh, you know the first photo? He flips to the back. Flips to the photo of him and his boyfriend. Examine again. Nothing seeming too off. Upon close inspection, you can make out the background. It seems like a beach. That's also hell. What? The same place with the giant beast? That's why we had an escort. Some kind of powerful mage sent by Demiurge. Escort sent by the devil? That's unbelievable. Well, believe it. I thought he seemed like a bit of a pushover, but he's got a crazy aura about him. He must have had some kind of protection on him to block true sight, because I couldn't make heads or tails of him. But he wasn't all too mean. He just seemed uninterested as all. We were actually told no photography, but we snuck shots when we could. I actually caught him side-eyeing us one time and didn't say anything. Why are you even there? Some weird, eager director offered him a crap ton of cash to do the shoots. Honestly, don't know why they picked him. It was a pretty ambitious movie shot. Honestly, it's a long story. I'd rather not get into it. It's such an open book. I'm surprised. He flipped further into the books. So what's this? It's an aerial shot of Helward. But how? Top of the wall. It ain't an easy shot to get, I'll tell you that. Is Helward nice? Depends on what you mean. It's a pretty city, and the people are friendly enough. But it's brimming with trouble. Recently, there's lots of activity around the wall. I'm sure you heard it before, but it's best to keep your distance. Fiends, beasts, and all sorts of crazies. They try and keep it sorted down there, but sometimes it gets a little bit wild. A kid like you could hold your own, but it's much more dangerous than even the northern beach. Or breach? On top of all that, it's filled with badges. Again, they're friendly enough, but keep depending on what's going down at the time, and they can be a bit eager to keep the law. The mechanic tosses his head to the side, his neck cracking with each swing. I'm about done here. Oh, sorry. You're about to close the album when he speaks up. You ain't got to put it away. You haven't snooped through it all yet. Cadence tells you that there's more he wishes you to see. You flip further in. Mm-hmm. Demon Dogs. Heh, that's the real me of the album right there. What exactly is? Well, me and my partner started off by helping random strangers, usually with car problems, but really, it was anything we could lend a hand with. Eventually, we got some demons in on it, and we started a bit of a recruitment agency of sorts, hiring demons and folks down to luck, and finding them work. It turned into a full-time gig, and it really took off. He points over a photo of what looks like to be a doctor. Off in the distance, there are what appears to be coworkers making rude faces at her. She's a vampire. She's actually pretty good, got a pretty good resume from the mechanical working while traveling, so we found her job in North Ward. They're picking off, they're picking on the girl 'cause she's got a crush on the head doctor next to her. And this one right here? He fingers over a pack of strange looking candidates. They're demons. I actually hired them on to help renovate the orphanage initially. They're so helpful to I grab them all the time when I need to get my hands dirty with a large project. They seem pretty strong to be carrying large objects given their size. They're dwarves. Working with metal is in their blood. You move your eyes to the next photo before Whitman has a chance to poke at it. It's a photo of a pair of fish folk by a shady bar. They're mammals, technically. That one's pretty personal. Well, more so from a partner. The fellow on the left used to be a servant to my boyfriend. He was picking him up at school when everything went down. Obviously, he was without a job, but he still came by all the time to the orphanage to check on him. Practically his only friend at the time. When we got older, it became pretty obvious he was barely scraping by. He was homeless, apparently, and his gift ain't all too great for a demon. So we let him stay with us for some time, and eventually my boyfriend found him work at a local bar near where we live. He comes over all the time. He glanced over at the last photo. Wolffolk holding up some kind of badge. In the background is a kid. He looks close to him, being held by some catfolk. That's the commissioner of Helward. Always good to have a picture of authority. You got him that job? Well, not him exactly, though we're good friends. The guy behind him, he's actually a badge in the Helward now. Originally, he was a daycare worker, but he was looking to expand his horizons. He's pretty charming, which makes sense given what kind of demon he is. What kind of demon would he happen to be? Heh, the kind that gets what he wants by raising its tail. You really didn't have to answer that. Anyways, that's all the photo. That's all these photos are. I even made a business card and everything. You look over at the mechanic, who seems more animated than ever before, obviously taking much pride in his achievement. That's incredible. You help a lot of people. Yeah, no. Most of it's handled through Lnet. We have more photos and testimonials on there. Eh? I should be paying you for the work you've done today, then. Nah, of course not. It's pure hospitality on my part. Although, The mechanic's pupils some pulls something in his pocket. Upon flashing it, it appears to be his business cards. Since you're heading down to Helward, if you ever meet any demon folk who or folk who are looking for work, I'd appreciate it immensely if you gave my card. His face is adamant. You grab a few cards from his hand. After all, he did spend all his time helping you. It's the least you could do. I can't promise success, but I certainly try my best. You're a saint, kid. By the way, I'm done. He probably finished before he gave the spiel. That's a possibility. You look back at the toolbox, about to place the album back, when you notice a poster. What's that? Oh, that? It's promotion material my boyfriend got. Ain't all too sure what it's about. Well, I mean, he told me at some point, but I forgot it. He's always getting all sorts of junk and expensive shit, and hand off to me. Then, if I throw it away, he'll get mad. It feels like something dawns on you when looking at the poster. You look up at Whitman. The two of you stare at each other for a moment. What's with that look, kid? You know, I feel like I've seen it before. Well, I mean my business expanding, so... No. Do you also star in films? In a movie? Ain't that a chance. I'm no actor, so... You don't know why you're so certain of it, but you know he's lying. It's clear as day to you. I ain't lying, kid. No, you're certainly in a movie. It had zombies in it. Actually, I think I remember your boyfriend, too. The man goes silent. His face lights up red. Clearly, he said something he wasn't expecting, or reading some abhorrent thought. Did I say something off color? Just looking at you, I can tell you no. I guess I shouldn't be too shocked. You're into men after all. What does that mean? The man swallows a lump in his throat before explaining himself. Oh, yes. I used to star in some adult films with my boyfriend. He glances at you from the side, catching you speechless from the admission. Wait, you didn't even realize what you knew? You speak up without thinking. I do not watch adult films. I mean, I accidentally once, out of curiosity. But I'm not into that kind of thing, honestly. Surprisingly, you ain't lying. Well, yeah, that's probably how you recognize me. I cannot believe the one smut film I watch, I run into the main actor. How is my luck so awful? It's alright. Nothing to be ashamed of, or nothing. He calms himself down before continuing. Those were just those were rough times. Rough times? Well, two of us just found a place outside the wall. They allowed us to stay. It wasn't the best, but since we generally passed as normal folk, we're allowed to stay. It feels like he's going on to more stuff. The entire goal is leaving the wall and becoming an actor, and was just tagging line at the time. Nothing about it. Folk infused downloads demon, and just came with the idea of doing some charitable acts. Hope a woman's the right person. Honestly, it was a shit idea, but we were desperate. Yeah, he's talking more stuff. I don't know. I feel like I'll just roll this back. Yeah, to there-ish. It just seems like, I don't know, kept on going like, I feel like I've got this. Woof. So, sorry, it's a bit late on my side, and it's been a long day for me, so it's like, I don't know. Just wanted to end it there. So, yeah. Sorry that was just like, and we're just gonna cut it here because stuff, but it's just like, I can only do so much. But yeah, that's the end of that quick look. So, I thought that it is kind of interesting that the entire hour was that. But yeah, we see our Tanuki guy right here in one of the pictures. A big doggy guy licking his forehead. Some dog, and then some kind of ox person with lots of hair. Please wipe your paws. Gray Tanuki, maybe? Yeah. But yeah, that's gonna be it of this quick look. So comment, guys, I like comments, same as you like, dislike. Tips, tricks, otherwise. If you like my YouTube and like to see it grow, then please like, subscribe, and check out the rest of it. Grow and please remember to your animals help control the pit population. Oops, sorry, I need to close this voice before doing that. And if you want to play that game, it's available free on itch.io. But if you want to support the people that make this game or made that game, they have a Patreon, but I don't know if that is part of that game. But the last update seemed to be like a year ago. Anyways, what the random number generator of Destiny picked was which sounds like a very interesting game. Help me date your dad. Which, I don't know, that sounds like an interesting thing. Like, hey there, I want to date your dad. Yeah. It's a game, boot. Help Me Date Your Dad is a furry visual novel created by on this day, I find myself returned to the place of many memories, both good and bad. There, in that old house, is someone very important to me, someone who has sacrificed so much for my happiness. Now it's my turn to return their kindness, to save them. Wait for me. What's this? It's currently only a demo featuring the first day and morning of the second day out of 8 days, and it's around 30 to 40 minutes. Okay, so we might, go to the entire length of that game. Seems it has varying art styles. But yeah, if you want to play this game, it's available free on itch.io. Just checking if they have a Patreon. It doesn't seem to look like it. And it doesn't seem to show when was the last update. If I click here, I don't know. Yeah, well. It is what it is. Anyways, until next time. I had a quick click. Me, Game 06. Not some other game. I mean, help me date your dad. It will. So, thanks and see ya.